I think I got to dance to Iris at my eighth grade dance with two of the boys that I was crushing on. So
I
that
thought
was
you
fun.
I thought you were going to say two
Whoa.
of the Goo Goo Dolls.
No, that would have been much cooler, but yeah.
Welcome to the Quicksand Club podcast, the podcast where we discuss every topic worth discussing, one at a time. This episode is brought to you by Farmers Only Dating Service, because city folks just don't get it. And of course, that brings me to our topic this month, dating. Whether it's a nightmare you're currently living or just a recurring nightmare from the past, dating is an agony and an ecstasy we've all been through. I'm Spencer Bainbridge. This month I'm joined by...
Bryce Allemann, and I'm joined with
Sara-Jean Bartky.
And I'm Dana Constance.
Zack Johnson.
Sunil Patel.
And Nicole Weber.
And this episode is also brought to you by Lighthouse Keepers Only. Non-wikis just don't get it. Okay, who'd like to share a memory of their very first date?
It was 1989. I was in eighth grade. She was in seventh grade, and we went to see Uncle Buck in our tiny town's one-screen movie theater.
What'd you think of the movie? At the
I don't
time?
remember anything about it. Not because I was doing this was way pre-puberty. I don't even know what I was hoping to get out of the whole scenario. I just it was just not a very good movie.
You were hoping to get a fun
Wait,
time.
you don't like Uncle Buck? Oh,
well, did you like the person that you asked on the date, or did you ask?
I don't remember. I think I didn't. I think it was what do they call? I think I was Sadie Hawkins to that particular movie.
Nice. That's a great 1930s reference, by the way.
Yeah,
Thank you so
yeah.
much
A
for that.
lot of given our introductions and our relationship statuses, I think we're all going to have a lot of real contemporary dating stories.
Yeah.
I know a couple weeks later we went to the same movie theater and saw Parenthood, which was a much better movie.
That is a better movie.
And then later her father was arrested for possession of cocaine, got fired from his job managing a grocery store, and they moved out of state. So that was
and
how that relationship
that was
ended.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, make a movie about that, John Hughes. I knew a couple who were happily long married, and their first date almost ruined the whole thing because their first date was to go see Robin Hood Men in Tights. They said they were
It's a fun
both
movie.
like in kind of a bad mood afterward.
It's a fun movie.
It might be a fun movie, but it's no Blazing Saddles.
That's what they say.
Also, a movie is a terrible date, especially for a first date. Let's go somewhere where we're not going to talk to each other.
Well,
Sit in the dark and stare in the same direction.
there was a person I worked with during college, and I really wanted to go on a date with her, and we never really officially said it was a date, but I went to the movies with her. And what did we see? Prince of Tides.
Ooh, okay.
Which,
That's a tearjerker for the younger folks.
yeah, but it has some prisoners raping women and young boys, and and at least in story form. So, your classic, excellent first date experience.
Well, I just realized I was confusing Prince of Tides with Beaches, and I feel like it would be weird if I didn't admit that just now. You're talking about the Pat Conroy adaptation with Barbara Streisand,
Yes.
not Barbara Hershey and her fake lips and Bette Midler. Okay.
No.
I thought you might have confused Prince of Tides with Prince of Darkness, the John Carpenter movie.
No,
As we all do from time to time.
Yeah, that would have been a better date, I think.
That would have been a better day, much better movie.
I went to Ocean's 12 with a date, and we walked out, and I said, I thought it was pretty good. And she looked at me so disapprovingly that I knew it was over. There weren't many more dates after that. She
I mean,
really,
Ocean's
she
12
really
is one of
judged me.
those. Ocean's 12 is one of those movies where I feel like there's a divide between people who are like, I can fuck with that, and people who are like, that's shit.
I had the opposite situation. We went and saw Black Knight, the Martin Lawrence time travel comedy, and the fact that she liked it so much was the beginning of the end of our relationship.
She wasn't related to Martin Lawrence, was she?
I don't think so.
Okay. There's no excuse then.
I mean, the funny thing is, I mean, we were talking about the first date conversation. I was trying to think about what my first date was, but I also couldn't separate whatever my first actual date was from whatever my first kind of date was because I wasn't allowed to date in high school and I didn't date in college really. So I think my first anything that resembled a date was actually meeting a potential future wife arranged by my family.
Ooh.
Can't fail.
And so it was just, here's this random Indian girl, go talk to her, go have dinner with her and see if you have any chemistry. And it was like that for several years in my late 20s of just those kind of meetings.
Mm-hmm.
And they all kind of run together. But then I really was trying to figure out, I feel like all of you have very clear memories of like your first date. And I feel like I probably should have a clear memory of either my first time doing that or my first time actually going on a date with somebody that I chose to go on a date with. And that was probably through one of the apps. Like, I mean, OkCupid was what I was on earlier, I think. So I must have gone an OkCupid date maybe at some point. But I cannot remember what my first one would have been.
I had to like rack my brain too. I was pretty sure it was in 7th grade with the guy that I had a crush on from theater. And all I remember, because my husband now asked me, like, what was the movie? And I'm like, I don't know. All I remember was stressing out that I was sweating too much. And like, do I hold his hand? Do I not do that? So that's all I remember from my 7th grade first date.
You shouldn't have gone on an aerobics date.
What was the year? Because I want us to figure out what the movie was.
7th grade would have been.
Who was
too.
president?
Also, it would have been 1998. I just did math.
You might have seen a late run of Titanic. It's not impossible. It was
Ooh,
still in
maybe it was
theaters.
Titanic.
I feel like you would have also remembered that though if it was Titanic, because 3 hours. I mean, come on.
Yeah, Titanic would be memorable.
No, I feel like I saw Titanic with one of my friends at the time because I was like so excited that I sat through a 3-hour movie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Was Titanic a movie for 13-year-old girls? I don't know why I didn't
Yes,
like
of course.
it.
Yes.
Leonardo DiCaprio
Okay,
was
so that
heartthrob.
explains
kidding me?
it.
100%.
And also, you got to realize if she was sweating so much, then that would have been, like a 4-dimensional,
I mean, it's a very stressful movie.
It is.
This has to be the answer. SJ's first date was at Blues Brothers 2000.
Absolutely not.
Big Aykroyd head.
I'm sorry, but that's canon now, SJ.
Canon?
Yeah.
Yeah, Quicksand Club canon.
Was the
Ugh.
date with like a 45-year-old man? Maybe you saw Saving Private Ryan. On the...
Oh yeah, I was shooting way above my age range back then.
The worst dates sometimes weren't the ones where everything went wrong, because that's just definitive. Don't even have to think about it. Well, okay, moving on in my life after that. Sometimes the worst ones were the ones where everything went right except for one thing. The one thing that's going to nag you. And you're like, is this going to become a problem? I remember one time when I was in college, there was this woman I really liked, and I took her out on a date. Date went great. Fantastic date. One of the best. And then while we were partying that night, I said, I'd really like to see you again. And she said, I'd like to take you shopping for pants. Because she did, and that's not a joke. She didn't like my outfit. And then she, not only did she offer to take me shopping for pants, but she said she really wanted to. And it was just very insulting. We went out a couple more times, but the magic was gone. I mean,
You went out a couple more times.
yeah, I
Vince!
mulled it over. See, that's what I'm saying. If it had been all bad, if
Did
she'd
you
made
get-
5 or
Mhm.
But were you neurotic about the next choice of pants on the other dates?
I wore better pants on the second date, but apparently still not good enough.
Why wasn't the second date pants shopping?
Hmm.
She was serious. I should have taken her up on it.
Were they cargo pants? Because maybe then it's justified.
Let's see, white college guy, circa 2005. I would say that's at 107% chance that they were cargo pants.
No, that's really shitty. I'm sorry.
That was rude.
Mean.
I said,
Yeah.
okay, 7 more dates, and then I'm making a decision.
That was very nice of you to give her another shot. Have another 7 shots.
Well, I was really done. So
I don't think it would have occurred to me to be offended by that. I have never cared at all about my own clothes, and like the main, I don't know. If anybody has an opinion about it, it's their job to fix it. And so,
Well,
That's
I
her-
guess
that's
was
her-
Yeah,
she,
was she gonna buy them for you?
that was my question.
oh, I
Yes.
doubt it. I very much doubt.
Oh,
I was going to do
well.
that
I
thing where
assumed she was going to buy you the new pants.
oh no, she wasn't gonna. I don't think she was offering to pay for
Spencer,
them.
if you had retorted with, sure, can we also talk about your blouse? Do you think things would be better?
Wait a minute.
Then she would have gotten a taste of her own medicine, you see?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Without evened out the hand that she'd attained in that date.
Maybe, but Zach, to comment on what you said, it's true. Like maybe I generally shouldn't have been so sensitive about such a thing, but I also think it was a harbinger of what other things about me does she immediately not like? You know,
She just wanted to see more of that tight ass.
That's a great segue into my story.
okay, let's hear it.
Which now that I think about it, this one of my worst dates, most memorable worst dates, may have actually been my first date getting back into the apps like hardcore up until the point I found my fiance. So
Okay,
so it actually
we
is
call it Sunil's slutty period.
yeah yes exactly. That there are so many dates in that period. Oh my God. She asked, "What is the nerdiest thing you've ever done?" And just so you know, I'm going to judge you for it. And I said, I tried to think of something, and I said I go to Comic-Con every year. And you should have heard the horror in her voice when she asked what I dressed up as. I don't dress up to go to Comic-Con, I just go to Comic-Con. She proceeded to describe with great condescension a group of grown men dressed as Jedi, offering classes on proper lightsaber technique, and asked very pointedly whether I would take such a class, after having made it very clear what her feelings were. And I was like, I guess the correct answer is no. There were many other sort of like tiny things about this the entire night. What's memorable about this, it was actually kind of a cool date because I had to sign an NDA on this date.
What?
Because she took me into her office in Phi Dialog. She works in tech or whatever. So we went to her office, which we know that was kind of like a cool like after
Sounds like
hours
50
sexy.
Shades of Grey, no?
Yeah, because it's cool after hour 6 you work to sign an NDA, like what happens in the office stays in the office. We're going, there's like a beanbag chair there. Like, okay, like, we had some myths, but like maybe something could happen on this date. But at one point, in the tone of voice that very much said like this is no longer a date, she was like, I really wish you didn't go to Comic-Con. Other than that, you're neat.
Wow.
No, nothing good starts with other than that.
I remember being on a date once where she asked what I did for a living, and I said, I make video games. And she said, Do you play video games? And I said, yes. Yeah. And just it was just clearly immediately over. Like she just had a rule.
Wow, no gamers.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I feel like it's the same thing. I feel like that woman and my woman, I feel like at some point some nerd hurt her. And like, she was just like, I cannot deal with people who go to Comic-Con anymore.
Hurt nerds, hurt nerds.
You can often tell whenever I would see a profile on one of the apps that had some very specific thing that like wasn't allowed in somebody who they were going to go on a date with. That was even if it didn't apply to me, I was just immediately like, there's some energy being brought to bear here based on something that has nothing to do with anything that's happening now or in the future, and I don't want anything to do with it.
Yeah, it's similar to the like, I like any music except for country music. It's like, I'm not even disagreeing that strongly, but that's a red flag that you're kind of a pain in the ass.
I'm gonna be honest. I think I'm a serial monogamist. Like when I have been thinking about when I reviewed what we would be talking about in this episode and was like kind of trying to think of things that I would answer to some of these questions. I have not been on a lot of first dates that did not continue into long-term relationships. So I think what works for me is like somebody with a good sense of humor
Oh, I
and
thought you were going to say you're breathing and
and breathing is good. Yeah, it's up there. It's up there. It's not a must, but it's up there. I don't think I think I've had some fairly successful first dates, and I would say they were probably like dinner and a show, not a movie. Come on, not a movie. We established that earlier, right? Like live theater show, right? Or like music. I think something artsy has always been like a ticket to my interest,
Right.
but an opportunity to like talk and get to know the other person, I think is super imperative.
I agree. And I'm also with you. I've dated, but I've had some long-term relationships and now one for 30 years. So it's one of those things.
The tragedy of serial monogamists is that they're so good at dating, but they just tragically don't get to do it as much as everyone else.
Never been on the apps. Not
Very
a
high
single
success
one.
rate.
Not a one. Not a
Wow.
website. Not an app. None of it. Just all.
Can I
natural.
Human
mention-
bars.
You're raw dogging it?
Just
I
Through
had
dating?
I was a serial monogamist except for a period of maybe 3 years in my 40s when I was on the apps. But other than that, it was my strategy was always to immediately move in with the first person who was interested in me, and then live with them until I decided I didn't want to have kids with them, and then leave and start over.
Zach, did you ever try as an opening line, hey, do you want to go to get 2 tacos at Del Taco? They only have 70 calories.
I never did.
Okay.
Well, it's because there are no Del Tacos in the city. I would have had to like, hey, do you want to get in a
Oh.
car and do you want to drive out to the middle of the desert with me for a first date?
Never would have worked.
I promise I'm only going to feed you 140 calories worth of tacos
That's the upside.
and not bury you.
They could also take that negatively and be like, what do you mean? Only 70 calories per taco. Are you trying to tell me something?
Wait, so Nicole, I changed the subject. You were saying that you were never really part of the dating scene per se?
Well, let me clarify. I had some years in my early to mid 20s where I was having a good time, but nobody was taking me like on a traditional date. You
Got
know, it was
Mhm.
like more like let's go to the bars kind of situation. So,
See, I never had that problem because I barely ever got a second date, let alone more.
As someone who didn't, my dating life ended before apps became a thing.
Mhm.
But I had like in the early 2000s, I remember having lots of friends who started using the apps in their earliest forms, internet dating. They don't even think they had apps. They were just more like dating websites, like Match.com.
You had to use a computer, for God's
You had to
sake.
use a computer, yes. And it was like it was shameful. Like if you met like friends, no, seriously, if
Yeah.
you met someone on the internet and you were dating them, you kept that story quiet. You
They would
didn't
lie. People
you
would
would
lie
lie
about
about it. Yeah, it wasn't something respectable people did. You went to a bar or a church or a bar, but you didn't meet people on the internet and you kept that quiet. I have a sibling who to this day, I'm quite sure, keeps a story about how he met his wife, who they've been together for 20 plus years. How they met, they have a story about how they met in the grocery store, but that's not how they really met, but they can't tell people that. And so it was an era where internet dating was it was on the down low. It was bad.
That's so strange, especially that you would keep lying about it now that it's like the
Well,
way that most people meet their romantic partners. It's like,
Now people are just unabashed to be like, oh yeah, we're so happy. We have 3 kids. We met on GoFuck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For the people that have used the apps, do you find that it's actually filtering out a large amount of people that you otherwise would have to spend time with, or that like
I think it's very different uh, for men versus women. I mean, for me, I found that it filtered out everyone who did not match with me. So that's,
Yeah.
and so it was less like I basically, anytime I connected with anyone on an app, I would go on a date with them. And it's like worst case scenario, you had a drink with someone else instead of having a drink by yourself,
Mhm.
Mhm.
And I mean it worked out really well for me in the end. Like that's how I met my wife, and that was great. And it was just so apparent from the first moments of the first date that like, oh, okay, this one's different. Like so that I guess in some ways that did, but it's also like your dating profile is sort of an expression of your personality, and so like it's filtering the way that everyone filters everything, right? By
so
well,
wearing a bow tie to the bar kind of thing. It's like, oh, no one's approaching that guy.
although as a man, the apps are absolutely for shit until you pay for them, at which point they just start working the way that you would
Yeah.
expect them to in a just world. Whereas I feel like
Mhm.
that is not at all women's experience of using them.
so I was talking to a friend today at lunch who's in the dating game, and he was lamenting these dating apps as a male because I guess like you can put filters in, and he said like he gave an example is like women can just say I don't want to date anybody under 6 foot, and therefore that
I
just
think that's
cuts
a
out.
new, I think that's a new
Is it a new
like
thing?
detail thing that you can
Yeah,
add. Yeah.
maybe. Yeah, but I guess it will filter out a ton of people who don't reach 6 foot, which is below, yeah, which is above average 6 foot, and that's therefore this is leading to a bunch of guys who are just really kind of really bummed out because they're under 6 foot tall, but it leads to a small minority of guys who fit that perfect filter
Mhm.
of that
Couldn't you just
male, but
lie?
they're
Can't
jerks
you
because
just
they've
lie
got
about it?
And they
Well,
do.
you
Oh, yeah.
sure you can also lie
Yeah.
about your weight or your age, right?
Well,
But
you-
eventually,
Yeah,
eventually,
but that's
you
not
get
gonna
Right,
caught.
but then you get
Yeah.
your foot in the door, and then they'll be like, "Oh, I don't
Yeah,
need a
need
6 foot
You're
man."
6 foot.
start your relationship with a lie. It can
Yeah.
only end
Oh,
bad.
this is
Wait.
great. I always wanted to date a liar.
even before you could filter for that, though, like I found, especially on the more like on Tinder, there were often a lot of like the first question is, "How tall are you?"
Uh-huh.
So like it was being filtered for even when it wasn't explicitly being
Let's
filtered.
get to the hard-hitting questions. How tall are you? That's the most interesting thing about you.
No, this is an entire subplot in Materialists.
That's right. I did see that movie. The modern
There's an
dating
entire
movie.
subplot about the fact that yes, women want like men who are 6 feet or taller, and some men actually get like surgery to like that meant like almost like breaking their legs and like refusing them to give them a few inches.
What's hilarious though is that in real life, I don't think that surgery can give you more than an inch, maybe two. And in the movie, they say they gave him an extra 6 inches of height. It's like you would look like a marionette. Like your legs would be absurdly long. That makes no 6 inches. That's half a foot. That doesn't
Well,
make any sense.
they added 3 inches in the arms and three in the
Yeah,
legs.
or including wingspan. They just gave him a pompadour too. There's another
And a
couple
couple
inches.
inches just in the butt.
I think the apps do exacerbate some of that stuff. Like I think if you're bald, you have a lot more trouble. Like the meeting people in person, it's up to you to let your personality drive women away. Like
Yeah.
the apps just give you so many other ways to do it without you even saying anything.
What's funny about the filters is my fiance had a filter on age. She was only looking for men up to a certain age. And Bumble eventually gave up on her and was like, "We're gonna show you men older than your filter. We don't care." And that's how she found me.
Maybe that's like a great idea, actually. An app that like uses reverse psychology on you. I know this is what you think you want, but let me tell you what I think you'd want. Because I think that's true. Like, I think people limit themselves on the most ridiculous thing. I honestly think that's why I've been successfully consistently in relationships is because I'm actually not that picky about certain things because I have a lot of friends that are super picky about ridiculous stuff like somebody's height, which is absurd
Mhm.
in my opinion, or like somebody's hairline or somebody's hair. I think that stuff is just like irrelevant and honestly not the ticket to a long-term relationship. But anyway, SJ, I want to hear about you.
Well, I have two things to say. One, my husband is 5'10", 5'11", something under 6 feet, and now bald. So it's like, and
Yeah, my
I
boyfriend's
love him
5'10"
so
and bald.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
So
wife is 9 feet tall and absolutely covered in hair. So I'm part of the problem.
Amazing.
Your profile limits said, okay, they can be up to 8 feet and half covered in hair, but no more. And they were like, buddy,
Amazonian, I think, kind of.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think if you type in too specific a type, the app just says, has this worked for you in the past?
No.
This episode's also brought to you by Truck Drivers Only. Four-wheelers just don't get it. Okay, someone tell me about your best date ever.
Okay. Because I would say that the best date I've ever went on was with my husband. And it was at NYU. That's where we met. And we went to see Superbad. See, I remember that movie because it
That's
was
a fun date
good.
movie.
Yeah. And then the funny part of it, so, I was like nervous in the theater. And I was like, I don't know, what is he going to take me home? Are we going to hang out after? That's what I meant. And we're going to hang out after.
Wink.
Wink. So after the movie, we're like hanging out outside the theater. And I'm like, waiting for him we're waiting to figure out what to do. And he goes, so I have a bottle of white and a bottle of red. If you want to come back to my place, I also have margaritas I can make. And I was like, okay, I'm in. We went back to his place. And then he showed me his whole collection of Alfred Hitchcock. And I don't know, it was just like, so the conversations we had were so engaging and like, we were really listening to each other. So he's really funny. He was funny then. He's still funny now. So I think humor is a big one for connecting, and yeah, someone who listens a lot. So I'm throwing all of that in
When you say his collection of Hitchcock, do you mean creepy little figurines of Hitchcock that he had
Oh,
all over his
Hitchcock
apartment?
movies. He has like we still have it. His like the birds is in
Oh
there.
yeah.
Like all of the OGs
On DVD, I presume.
on DVD.
Yeah.
I got the
Can we
4K
watch them
set.
anymore? No, but we
For a
don't.
You
second
have
there,
them.
I thought
We
that
have
date
them.
was turning into a Billy Joel song.
Yes, I was gonna say that.
I was like, "Where's the rosé?" Where'd it go? Women's
Oh my
birthday.
God, you're right.
He quoted the lyrics to scenes from an Italian restaurant, and your heart was won over.
Yes.
I loved that your husband had options for beverages for you. White, red, margaritas.
Yeah,
Love that.
listen
No,
up,
he was
fellas.
like, I have to get her. And then also he tells me later, and he recounts this all the time. He's like, I had no idea that you were into me, even though you came back to
Aw.
my place,
No.
and even after I like kissed you, but I still wasn't sure. And I'm like, it's sweet. So,
Aw.
Well, did you even offer to take him shopping for pants?
I really missed out on that opportunity.
How's he supposed to know that you like him?
You still can, SJ. You can still take him out shopping for pants.
It's true. It's not too late.
Could.
And you should probably pay for them at this point.
I could do that. I should
Be ni-
probably
be
do
nice.
that. I'll be nice.
Yeah.
His birthday's in December, so.
There was that John Waters advice, like if you go home with someone and they don't have books, don't sleep with them. And I dated a woman here for several months who she didn't really have books in her apartment. She had some books. There were like 7 books. 2 of them were 2 copies of the same book, and she didn't know that. She hadn't realized
She read
that
him cover to cover. Didn't
it
seem
was
familiar.
it was just books she had gotten for free at conferences. Like she just wasn't a person who had books. She was great, but there was a little cultural gap there.
Well, now I feel like you can't really necessarily tell because people do like Kindles now.
Yeah,
And so
right.
how can you be
True.
sure someone's not a reader if they don't? I mean, listen, I believe in physical copies of books, and I also would maybe use that metric. But I think it's a little unfair now in the sense that like so many people do use digital. You
True,
know?
but if they have 7 books and 2 of them are Who Moved My Cheese, it's still not a
Yeah.
great sign.
It's fair. It's fair.
That's the kind of book selection you see when you go to like a Goodwill, where there's like one shelf of books and 4 of them are Twilight.
Right. I mean, I feel like, yes, people do have Kindles, but I don't know if certain people are, for instance, ebook only to the core and literally have no physical books at all. Because I feel like even if you're a person who reads on the Kindle and are actually a reader, you'd probably buy some of your favorite books physically because like they mean something to you. I would
Yeah.
assume. I mean,
You probably
so-
have some books from when you were, reading before the Kindle was invented. Whatever.
I think I'm just trying to play devil's advocate because I do have I'm definitely like a physical copy person, but I'm trying to just, I don't
I
know.
have a lot of Kindle reader friends.
Yeah.
She
Yeah,
also didn't know who Jeff Goldblum was.
Oh.
That is how I describe like
That's
the
a red flag.
Yeah.
the culture
You could have
gap.
led
Yeah.
with that, Zach.
Yeah.
What books did he write? Did he write Who Moved My Cheese? Then I know him.
Also, once we were at my house and my cat started purring, and she was like, what is it doing? What is this sound?" She's like, "I'd never spent enough time around a cat to know that the
the hairball?
cats could purr. No, it was
okay.
purring. It's like,
What's that
wow,
sound?
weird.
That's normal cat behavior.
Yeah, it's like, wow.
She's never experienced a cat in real life. Well, maybe she'd only experienced cats in books. Okay.
She had an MBA. So during my period of app dating in the 40s, I decided in the 40s.
Wow.
We'll meet again.
In the 40s that I've been experiencing.
Was that? Did you use flapper?
Yeah.
FLAPR.
No, I decided I was only going to match with women with graduate degrees. And so yeah, she had an MBA, but
I would have been out, Zach. I would have been out.
yeah. I mean, you weren't on the apps. You were serial monogamizing.
It's true.
How about, has anyone been, and I can say I've probably been on a few, but I can't think of anything specific to retell where a date goes so well that you don't ever follow up with a second date.
You don't want to ruin it?
You don't want to ruin it. It's like the singular
Oh.
experience worked well, and then there's really nothing to go
No.
back to again.
Because horniness.
Yeah, that's
Could be.
super
Right.
alien to my way of
Yeah.
approaching everything in life.
Yeah.
If something is good, I want to run it into the fucking ground.
we
You
talking
like
about like an after sunset, before sunrise sort of
Kind of.
Ugh,
tryst?
something where they
Bit,
should have stopped
bit.
at 0.
I seem to remember the first girl I dated in California. We hooked up in Haight-Ashbury at a club, and things went on, and it was a one night stand. But the next morning, I was like, "Oh, do you want to go for breakfast?" And we ended up dating for 6 months, and it was such a big mistake. Should have just let the moment go, but we chose to carry it through, and that was bad.
I could answer the best date question on behalf of my fiance because I remember how she describes her reaction to our first date, which is she texted her best friend afterward and was like, "I can't believe I found someone who could outtalk me."
And she was happy about this.
Yeah.
That's good. That's very good.
Yeah.
Very good feedback.
Balance has been struck.
After our first date, my wife said she texted her friend and said, "That went great. The only possible red flag is that I think he might be a Disney adult."
Oh no.
I'm not. I like Disneyland. That's
Yeah.
as far as it goes.
Yes.
It says it right there on your profile.
Wait,
but-
is this a thing that people
Oh,
don't?
yes. No, Disney adults are a whole thing. Yes.
But no, I know that. But
Yeah.
like people don't like Disney adults.
Just like people don't like people go to Comic-Con,
But
apparently.
it's so magical. Okay, fine, fair. To each their
Yeah,
own.
I don't know that I would have if I would have been a little dismayed to find out that she was a Mickey Mouse shirt Disney adult.
Okay, that's fair. That's I feel like, but rides though, when like
Oh.
again, like
Oh,
the
well, sure.
magic
Yeah,
of
yeah.
it.
You'd have to be inhuman to not like that.
Yeah, but I'm with Zach here because I grew up down there. I was actually born in Anaheim, and you go once or twice a year, but when you live down there. But you nowadays, if I go to Disneyland, I turn to Kathy and I say, "Well, you and we like Disneyland, but you see these people, they love Disneyland. Like everyone's wearing something. I mean, something that's brand related, and
Got it.
everyone has a different flavor. You know, you can be into Goofy or Star Wars or whatever, but everyone's wearing something."
Disneyland would be a pretty bad first date, or maybe a really good first date.
I would love that.
No.
very
well,
risky.
It could be a
the thing
really
about
good first date.
dates.
You'd have to, you're really, so, I mean, I was always like a drink before dinner because that way, if you want, you can move on to having dinner together.
Mm.
If you don't, it's easy to save face by saying like, I'm sorry, I have dinner plans, and you just politely go. Disneyland, though, it's like, man, if you decide after the first cup of coffee in the morning that the date's over, you're like, oof, this costs like $400.
Yeah.
No, that's exactly why, like, when I was in my slutty phase, I quickly realized, like, the best first date is just, like, coffee. Like, never dinner, never a meal, literally just kind of a vibe check. Because you don't want to be stuck hanging out with this person for an hour or whatever if you can tell within about 30 seconds that you're not going to enjoy their company.
You get in line for the Star Wars ride, and 4 hours later, if you're still enjoying each other's company, you stay in line for the Star Wars ride.
4 hours.
Right.
I would say maybe it's a better third date. You've established that you like this person and you like their conversation. Now, how do you handle being in a long line together? How do you handle, what food
Yeah.
choices are we making? That kind of thing. I actually think it'd be a better third date.
I agree. I think third or even fourth. I mean, but yeah, but definitely by like the first date is like the short. Just do we and the thing as you said, Zach, a coffee or whatever can always lead to more if they want to hang out more. And it's easy to get away if you don't. Then second date, and the second date is still kind of maybe your first chance at having a more lengthy conversation over a meal. But
Coffee
yeah, I
and
think
sandwich.
the third date is like, okay, let's try being more adventurous now. Let's hang out for more than an hour.
I was gonna say, is the Disneyland thing a way to sneakily find out if they're into furries or not?
Are there a lot of furries at Disney?
Well, I'm going to assume that those Mickey Mouse people walking around,
They're the ones
I'm
who
gonna
look
call
most
them
aroused.
a
Yeah, that's how you
precursor
Well, no.
to furries.
I actually don't think so because Disney stops you. They don't let you through the gates if you're like dressed up in a costume. They actually don't. Like
No, but if you get really turned on by Chip and Dale,
Oh, sure. Okay.
then it might be an innocent way
Okay.
to find out.
What about Abraham Lincoln, the figure, the animatronic? Okay,
Right.
listen,
Is he
some
hot?
of us are into that.
Do you think a guy who looks a lot like Abraham Lincoln is wearing a black suit and a hat, like, has trouble getting into Disneyland because they think he's cosplaying? That's just how he looks. Like, I'm just a skinny guy who likes
Do
tall
they
hats.
not let the
Please.
Amish into Disneyland? I don't know.
My money is as good as anyone else's, sir.
That's my picture on it.
I'm just thinking about if for some reason I had decided to take my husband, like unplanned or unbeknownst to him, to Disneyland or Disney World. I would have found out that he really does not. So we're talking about people that don't like rides. He doesn't like roller coasters.
Oh,
Yeah, I know.
Because they're too scary or because they're boring?
Because they're too scary.
Okay.
They're what? Who thinks they're boring? I'm sorry. Finish, SJ, but then I need to know who thinks they're boring.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, maybe the really like rinky dinky ones that don't move fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he would have. That's always like a thing. I'm like, do you want to, like, can we go to Disneyland? Because I just really like it. And it's like, but he's not going to go on any of the rides really, except the rinky dinky roller coasters. So
He just loves overpaying for churros.
there you go.
So the girl I hooked up with in California, that was a mistake. She cheated on me, and the day I found out she was cheating on me. A friend took me to Great America, and I rode the shit out of roller coasters. And I did not like roller coasters until that day, and now I love them because they're a great primal scream moment. It was a good release. So roller coasters as dating therapy.
Great America's about to close, so I hope you never get cheated on again because your medicine's about to be
Crap.
come
Wait, it's
unavailable.
closing?
Yeah.
yeah, they've been planning this.
I never got to go.
The last time I went to Great America was like 10 years ago, and there were just shipping containers sitting around in the park. Like, they weren't even trying to create the illusion of like a fun magic land anymore. It was just like, we're just going to put these shipping containers here and just leave them. It was really kind of sad. It already looked like a third abandoned, and that was a decade ago.
Do you think it'll stay closed forever, or do you think somebody will eventually make Great America again?
This episode is brought to you by Scuba Divers Only. Dry lungs just don't get it. Has anyone here ever successfully dated long distance?
Yes.
For how long?
Well, it's kind of complicated. So,
They're all complicated.
well, yeah, right. So, husband, current. So we did long distance twice. When I was studying abroad in Spain, when I was in college, it was 2007 or something like that. That was fine. It was only 4 months. But then he decided at the end of college that he wanted to do Teach for America. And he's like, I'm going to pick all the random ass places. And he ended up in Mississippi Delta. And I was like, you're dumb for leaving New York, but okay, I will support you in following your dreams. So yeah, we did it. It was not smooth, but we did it.
How
And
long
here
was
we
that
are.
stretch?
It was 2 years.
Oh,
That's a long
wow.
stretch.
That's a long time.
Yeah, then he came back to New York.
Okay.
Was that when
Yeah.
you could? Was that a time where you could FaceTime people or?
Oh yeah, we
Skype.
FaceTimed.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Skype. It was
Boop, boop,
totally
boop, boop,
Skype.
boop, 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 boop. Yeah. I
And so
remember.
exciting. You get to see your person on the other side of Skype.
Yeah, I remember when we used to have to use the telegraph, and
Horny, stop.
I sent my last letter Pony Express. It was great.
Nude daguerreotypes.
Somewhere there's a wood carving of Bryce that I don't want to see.
yeah. Actually, at the house I grew up in, a person I dated during high school actually painted 2 portraits of me,
Yes.
and they are still on the walls of my childhood home.
And that's why you haven't aged in 30 years.
Exactly.
Dorian Gray.
Are they good?
For an artistic, a very good artistic person who is ahead of her time as far as her abilities in high school, they're pretty good.
By that I mean, do you ever look at it and think it's a mirror?
No, absolutely.
Okay, so it's not that good. All right. This episode is brought to you by Mechanics Only. Clean hands just don't get it. I wanted to ask the panel, what do you think would be the best or worst historical era in which to date? I'm going to offer a worst, which would have been like 19th century sort of Jane Austen times. Because my wife and I were recently watching Pride and Prejudice, the TV version with Colin Firth from the 90s. And everyone just seems embarrassed to be alive and so stiff and so stilted. And they smelled terrible. And all the courtly, stiff dancing, they just seem like the most miserable, at least the most miserable rich people you've ever seen. You know what I mean?
It seems like that's really only the aristocracy, though, right? Like during those periods of time, like 90% of people were just giving each other syphilis in a gutter very casually.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the like the 1960s and 70s probably would be, because
For the best.
free love and a little loosening of the social standards, and HIV hadn't quite hit yet. So I would think that would be,
Yes, in between the pill and AIDS
yes,
was
yes,
a,
yeah,
a
that was
freewheeling
I think
time.
that was a prime period there.
Yeah.
And gas is still pretty cheap, so you could drive your car on it, take your wife, or date on a drive-in theater.
As long as you don't get drafted, you're good, man. You're groovy.
That's true. That's true.
You look at those films from the 50s, the educational films for teenagers on how to go on a date, and they're trying to show this very proper, shake your date's hand and tell them that you had a nice time.
But that also can't be how normal people behaved then, right? Like, I feel like people have always been people.
Right.
Maybe the 18th century, if the date didn't work out, you could just accuse them of your date of being a witch, and you'd never have to see him again.
The listener should know that Dana Constance is wearing a Boston Red Sox hat right now because
That's
you're,
right.
you're
Right.
being very
Salem's-
Massachusetts right now.
Salem's in my backyard.
Yeah.
That was.
Did you
yeah.
say the 18th century? Because that was like the 16th century.
No, they kept going. They kept
Oh, yeah,
going.
okay.
It went on for a while. It went on for a while.
I still buy incense from one of the 90s witches that I knew.
Really? Literally?
Yeah.
Does she ship it to you? Or does it come carried by a crow?
She runs an incense business, and that's I like it. I had some in the 90s and I liked it, and so now I just order some online every once in a while. She does use the internet. She doesn't just transubstantiate it to me.
Like techno-pagan.
Right. I wanted to ask, has anyone ever been in a dating situation which felt like it was right out of fiction?
I actually attempted the sister swap.
I was going to ask that.
Oh, shit.
Okay.
Tell us about this.
Oh, they were twins too. Twins, Jack. Twins.
Oh wow.
You must have gotten
It's just
so
sort of like
confused.
having two goes.
Were they identical or
Yes.
fraternal?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Oh, you doubled your trouble. You doubled your fun.
We need a whole podcast about this, Dana.
Wait,
Truly.
did you just mix them up?
No. Well, they were. I mean, they were identical, but they were very different.
Okay.
But yeah, I was working with one. It was part-time in college. I was working with one who had a boyfriend,
Hmm.
but we had chemistry. And then she tried to then she introduced me to her sister, who was available. And so we started dating, but I really liked the first sister more. So I tried to start dating the second. They one twin, and then when the other one broke up with the boyfriend, I tried to do the swap move.
The old lateral move.
Yeah.
The lateral move. It was complicated. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
I ended up going to the prom with both of them, but
Did
because
they
we're-
both know? Or was it like a Mrs. Doubtfire thing where you like went to the bathroom and you changed tuxes and
Oh, I didn't
Hell of
think
a
about
night.
that move.
This is
And
the
this is
movie
my
plot.
and this is my evil twin right here, Chuck. No, I think they both kind of knew what was up, but it did not work in the end. But I did try. I honestly did
Mhm.
try.
That's so complicated.
Wow. That's bold,
that's
Dana.
really complicated, yeah.
It was a bowl. I should have pretended to be twins myself. That's what I should have done.
You should have prestiged it.
Yes.
Is there any advice you'd give to younger people who are going into the dating scene?
This sounds so cheesy, but whatever. It's real. Be your genuine self. Like, if people don't appreciate you for how you show up, then they're not worth your time. And you'll find someone else that does. Friends, and just in general, I mean, this is kind of just like across relationships, Yeah, so just always show up as yourself. And I feel like if you feel like something's toxic, or okay, I don't want to use the word toxic, that's a little too strong. But if something doesn't feel like it's jiving, like within, like you kind of feel it in your body, it's probably not working. And it's probably to no fault, like often is to no fault of like the other person. Could be, but it's like just there's not a in sync thing going on.
Hmm.
Not the band.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I've sort of learned from gathering data over the years that I constantly say that I want to tell myself when I'm younger, it's business advice and dating advice. The first time it occurs to you that you maybe should break up with somebody, break up with them. The first time it occurs to you that maybe you should fire someone, fire them. Like you will never ever regret doing it too early, but you will definitely regret doing it too late.
I agree with that.
I was going to say, if you feel like you love somebody, don't let them go to Montreal for New Year's without you.
Especially now that Great America's closed.
Yes.
I would love to tell my younger self that not every date is going to result in a relationship. You don't have to be as nervous about it, and you should just enjoy the experience and see where it goes, as opposed to putting too many worries or thoughts about it. And in that relaxed mode, you are going to be able to be your authentic self.
Yeah, you
Hmm.
don't succeed by trying hard.
I would say to be open to people outside of your vision of what you thought you wanted in a relationship. Because we get so many messages from media and movies and TV and Instagram and Facebook and just everything what people post, and you kind of have a vision of like, oh, this is what a happy relationship is. This is what I should pursue for myself. And then everyone's not going to meet that very specific criteria. But if you meet the person where they are and let them sort of come to you, you might find that, okay, wait, the person that I'm meant to fit with is actually this person, and I should not let the fact that I was not thinking of this person in my head keep me from realizing that.
Hmm.
So you can't always get what you want, but if you try sometime, you just might find you get what you need.
That is actually very similar to what I wrote in my like Valentine's Day message for my fiance. My then was still my girlfriend at the time, but like our first Valentine's Day together, I wrote something similar. Was basically like she's not the girlfriend I knew. She's not the woman I wanted. She's the woman I never knew I needed.
Huh, I bet that went
You
over
ended it
well.
well.
Yeah.
And she's still with you, and she's going to
Yeah.
marry you. So
I worded
good
it better in
job.
that Valentine's, which is one of the best things I've ever written. So like I worded it better. I forgot exactly, but it was like she was a girlfriend I never knew I needed. That was the kind of like the main message was like I didn't realize that's who I was looking for.
Yeah, take two was
That
better.
sounds better, yeah.
Yeah.
I would say every breakup or unrequited love feels like the end of the world, but there's no reason you'd want to be with someone who doesn't want to be with you.
I was gonna say something very similar, except to the point that you kind of really have to have a heartbreak in order to really appreciate when you truly feel love for someone. And so there's value not just in like finding who your right person is by knowing who your wrong person is, but also like really feeling fulfilling love, I think requires feeling heartbreak.
Spencer, I had a unique fear when I was younger, very unique to me, that I had this fear that I would meet the woman of my dreams, the girl of my dreams, be perfect. But it turns out she had the same name as me.
Ah.
First
Oh, because
name.
it's an
First
androgynous
name.
name.
Because I have an androgynous name. That'd be like, she's awesome, and her name's Dana. Fuck.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was always worried that on the apps I would accidentally find someone attractive who had the same name as my sister or my brother.
Mm.
Ooh, yeah. Or your
Huh.
mom. That would be
Hmm.
tough too. Mm.
Luckily, my mom's name is not a common name in my generation, so that was never an issue.
And you don't call her by her first name.
Yeah.
Yeah, that helps.
Also, I feel like I would be able to get past that.
If you
Not
met
people
the
do.
person in your dream
not
was named
the
Zack,
not the perfume. Yeah, well, yeah, either one. I was thinking my mom's name, but yeah, that too. I think it'd be I feel like love can overcome something like that. A rose by any the same name is just as sweet, right?
Yeah, what's in a name?
I can just picture the honeymoon going, oh Dana, oh Dana, oh Dana, oh Dana. It would just be very confusing.
See, you never get in the habit of saying the person's name. That's just you're asking for trouble.
Leave proper names out of it. There's only room for error, very disastrous error.
Yeah, you have nothing to get. You have nothing to gain and everything to lose.
Oh,
Yeah.
Spartacus. Oh, Spartacus. Yes.
The only proper name that should be stated during that time is God.
That of the Lord himself, yes.
Oh, Christ.
And that's our episode about dating. I'm Spencer Bainbridge, and I was joined by
Bryce Allemann.
Sara-Jean Bartky.
Dana Constance.
Zack Johnson.
Sunil Patel.
Nicole Weber.
And this episode is brought to you by Illiterates Only. Reading folks just don't get it. If you have a comment or a question or a suggestion for an episode topic, email us quicksandclub@gmail.com. Thanks for joining us. This has been Quicksand Club, uplifting comedy for a slowly sinking world.
It would have been hard to date before Depeche Mode because no one had ever written a romantic song.
I find their music very romantic.